Welcome to The Bluegrass Story, the podcast that takes you on a captivating journey behind the mic with the most talented and influential artists in the world of bluegrass music. In each episode, we dive deep into the lives and careers of bluegrass musicians, exploring the stories that shaped their artistry and the passion that fuels their love for this timeless genre. Now, here's your host, Don Mack.
Hello and welcome to the Bluegrass Story. I'm your host, Don Mack. Get ready to immerse yourselves in the rich tapestry of bluegrass music today as we welcome a true luminary to the Bluegrass Story. We have the distinct honor of chatting with our special guest, none other than Glen Harrell of Volume 5. Join us as we dive deep into the remarkable journey and musical odyssey of Glen Harrell, a true bluegrass virtuoso and the driving force behind Volume 5. We'll explore his life, his music, and his indelible impact on the world of bluegrass. And we have lots to chat about. So get ready, stay tuned, and enjoy this episode of the Bluegrass Story.
Hey folks, this is Glen Harrell with Volume 5, and you're listening to the Bluegrass Story.
Well, hello, Glen, and welcome to the Bluegrass Story. It's so great to have you on the show.
Well, thank you, Dawn. Thanks for having me on. I certainly appreciate it.
Well, we've been looking forward to chatting with you and all that you and Volume 5 have going on, and so this should be a really good time.
Well, I'll tell you what, we always love to do radio interviews and take a chance to thank all the folks out there that have been so kind to play our music over the years, and it's an honor for us.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, the first question I want to ask you is pretty much one I love to ask every artist I talk to because I always get such different answers. And but can you tell us a little bit about your journey into bluegrass music and like what drew you to this genre in particular?
Well, you know, I grew up and my dad took me to bluegrass festivals when I was real young, and then my dad had always wanted me to learn to play fiddle, and so my great-grandmother bought me one when I was just a kid. And I ended up not long after that, I had a little motorcycle accident and was had to stay there at home and not be able to walk on my leg for several months. So I had no choice but to learn to play the fiddle. I had just started taking some lessons. And I went from that to playing a few contests, and then I ended up playing with a little local bluegrass band from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, close to where I was from. And it just went from there, from one band to the next over the years, you know, really like most every other bluegrass musician out there. But, you know, I guess, you know, for me, I always loved, you know, I don't know how to say it. I've always loved the simplicity of bluegrass music, you know, as far as the instruments and stuff like that. And, you know, nobody really plugged in there for years. But it's like, you know, the way you sound is the way you sound. And I've always loved that. And, you know, I grew up listening to a lot of bluegrass music. And, you know, when the album band came along, I thought that was the greatest thing that had ever happened, you know. And so I was a big fan of that. But I actually grew up listening to a whole lot of old country and Southern rock. You know, I loved Southern rock, Bob Seger and Little River Band. And, you know, Journey was one of my favorite bands back then. But also I loved, you know, I love the old country. I'm a huge Merle Haggard fan. Me and my daughter both, as far as that goes. But I love the old country music and just grew up going to bluegrass festivals and the thing I guess that I really love about bluegrass music, it's like, you know, what other genre of music can you know, begin learning to play an instrument and go to a bluegrass festival, and you may not know how to play that well, but you can always go from this crowd and play the 2 or 3 songs you know, and go to the next jam session. You know, you can do it over and over, and the people are always, you know, so welcoming to you, and it's just, there's no other music like it. None.
You are exactly correct. And I tell you, there is no other genre where the artist will mingle with the fans in the campgrounds, in the parks, and, you know, they play a set or two or three on stage that come off stage, and I mean, all of you guys are just so welcoming and embrace the fans, and the fans eat it up. They love it. And there's no other genre. I mean, you're not going to go to a big rock concert and go stand at a merch table and the band's going to be there,
No.
So I think that's what makes our genre so special, is to have that ability to connect in a way like no other.
Yeah, and not only that, but for a musician or a singer up and coming that loves bluegrass, just like you said, when the show's over, you may have to stand in line for a little while, but you can go up and talk to your heroes and ask this question and that question, and there is no other genre of music like that. I could have never gotten backstage to see Merle Haggard or Journey or Bob Seger or any of these folks that I grew up listening to. I mean, there's just, if you knew somebody who knew somebody, you might stand a chance at getting to meet them one day. But other than that, no, you're right. Nothing like it.
Yeah, that is so true. Now, your band, Volume 5, I mean, I feel like you guys have always had such a distinctive sound in bluegrass. And how would you describe the band's musical style, and what sets it apart from other bluegrass groups?
Well, Dawn, when I put this band together, the one thing that I said from the very get-go is I don't want to sound like everybody else. I don't want to do the songs that everybody else does, and I want to do my own thing. And I've always said this. I told the guys, I said, you remember how we would go to IBMA, and I said, we'd walk up and everybody would be playing, the Lonesome River Band songs or the Bluegrass Album Band songs. I said, I want to be able to go and hear somebody doing our songs. But one of the biggest compliments to me that I see week after week is to be on stage in an area I've never been before, or a festival I've never worked before, and look out in the crowd, and while we're singing our songs, there's people singing along with it. I just think that's the coolest thing, And,
it never gets old, does it?
No, it does. It never does. And like I said, more than anything, I just wanted to sound different. I don't want to sound like everybody else. I love the album band, but I don't want to sound like the album band, or I don't want to sound like, the Lonesome River Band. As much as I love all these guys, that's just not me. I've always been, the kind, I want to do my own thing. And as far as a singer, I really don't think that I sound a lot like everybody else. That can be a good thing and a bad thing, but I think our sound musically and vocally, it's been pretty distinctive, and more than anything, I didn't want to be a band that sounded like everybody else and just be really forgettable.
Well, you're not forgettable, and let me just add to what you're saying. When the first few notes of any one of the songs that you guys have ever released, it's Volume 5. It is distinctive. So, it's not like people can go, oh, well, they sound like so-and-so. No, it is not like that at all. It is, you guys have always been set apart, I think, because of your sound and just your sheer talent. My gosh, you guys gel so well together. Whether it's in the studio, on stage, or, on record or whatever, it's just so unique. And I love that about your band particularly.
Well, I have always tried to surround myself with the best musicians that I can get. Not only that, but surround myself with people that had the same passion for playing good music, and that's it. These guys, they're in the band. Man, they'll make anybody sound good. These guys they're the best of the best. And but not only that, they have the same passion that I have for it. You know, and that's the key right there, is finding guys that you can get along with and, you can trust, that, and especially when you're recording new music, that their opinion is actually really valuable. And it's, you take, like, when we go to the studio, I'll have a list of songs, but we never practice before we get to the studio. We get there and we work each song up and we record it right then,
Wow.
So that way all the spontaneity is there, and everybody can feel the song. That's what I like to do. And I won't listen to a song very much. I'll listen to it and see if it's got something that I like, you know, to get on that list. And let me tell you, these guys will tell you, I am really, really picky about what I record. And it just, you know, it has to do something for me. It has to wow me. And my rule of thumb's always been, well, you know, when I get this demo, if it doesn't wow me, I'm not sure it will wow anybody else. So it has to be something that really sticks out to me good, whether it's lyrics or melody or whatever. But, you know, so when I find that song, I'll listen to it, but I don't study it real hard. I want to get to the studio, and when we get there and we arrange it, I want it to all be just, you know, the first time.
Mhm. Well, and honestly, Glenn, I mean, thank you for that little behind the scenes way that you guys do that, because it, you know, it comes across as very authentic. And the fact that you guys, you know, it's not like you rehearse it and they go, okay, we're going to cut this. I mean, that's just indicative of the sheer talent of the band as a whole, that you can just show up and we're going to cut it right here. And, you know, not all bands have that prowess about them. And so that's a very special thing that you guys share, to be able to do that. And, you know, and speaking of, I mean, Volume 5's albums, I mean, it seems like every single one has just received so much critical acclaim. And share some of the insights into the songwriting that you guys have as a collective, and the creative process. I know you spoke a little bit about that, but are there some other things that you guys do collectively when you're making a new record?
Well, you know, for one, I've sort of got this thing, you know, I heard Merle Haggard say one time, you know, don't worry about the tempos or the key changes. Worry about recording good songs. And that's what I've always tried to do. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want all ballads on our record or all fast songs, but I just try to find really good songs. So when you come to see our show, it's not just, you know, a lot of flashy playing constantly. It's actually melodic music that you could, you know, you can put in a CD and go down the road and listen and hopefully, you know, be something that, you know, in 2 songs you're not tired of it and you roll on.
Right.
That's my goal. Now, you know, don't get me wrong, everybody's got their own taste. What I like, somebody else may hate, you know, as far as that goes. But
right. I
just, you know, more than anything, we just try to record the music that we love. And that's about as far as I know how to take that.
Well,
you know?
the best way that I would describe your music, when I've listened to your album from start to finish, is like a tapestry. Every song kind of weaves into the next, and you can't stop with 1 or 2 songs. I mean, honestly, you get into the groove of the song, the album. It doesn't matter which one it is. It's like, pick one. It's and just when we think, every time you guys cut a new record and I listen to it and I go, wow, I don't know how they would ever top this. And then you do. The next project comes out and it's like, okay, I thought the last project was my favorite. And honestly, I believe that fans as a whole of yours probably have a lot of the same feeling in that way. It's just amazing. And honestly, that's a real testament to not only how you guys work your records and how you produce music, but the thought that goes into producing a new album, you know, and it has to be there. It's kind of like, I like it a lot to radio because you can create a playlist to play for a show or whatever, and the songs just have to kind of go, there's an order, it's a science to it. And I think it's very much the same way when you're producing a record, you know?
Yeah, I think so too. You know, I mean, we've always produced our people have asked me before, you know, or do you use a producer? And I said, well, no, I don't think there's anybody out there that knows what we want any better than we do. And like I said, these guys are all great musicians and we trust one another. You know, hey, if we say, hey, man, I don't know about that. I don't think that sounds very good. You know, we'll know that would be something. Or I think you've got, you know, we would never say, I don't think that sounds very good, but we would say, you know, man, I think you got a better one than that, you know. And we, you know, we really push each other to bring out the best in everything that we do, you know, and most everything that we record, you know, we'll record it live. So, you know, if we go in there, we get a track, and if we don't like it, you know what, we start it all over and we cut it all live again, you know.
Yeah.
But like everybody else, I mean, sure, we'll go back. There'll be something you'll have to overdub here and there. But, well, you know, I guess more than anything, Don, we take it really, really serious to try to bring the best music that we can because, you only get one time to go through this life and do what you want to do and record the music you want to do. And once it's out there forever. And don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of things that I've recorded over the years that I hated. I wish I had done, sung over or played over, and I know every guy in the band feels the same way, and that's and probably every musician out there feels that way. But we just hope with each record, we don't try to beat the last record. We hope that we can just make one that's as people will like as well. Because you never know when you record a song how folks are going to like it. Some people may love the song and other people may hate it, and we just hope the people that love it outnumber the ones that hate it.
Yeah. Well, and I have to ask, because you guys have put out so many great songs, and like I said, it's hard to pick just one, but do you have any favorite songs in your repertoire that you've, released through the years that just have particular meaningful stories or themes, or just favorite songs in general that you enjoy playing when you're out on the road?
Yeah, probably one of my favorite songs, and I say this from every show with you, probably one of my favorite songs that I've ever recorded is one that was written by Jeff Parton. He played bass one time for us and then guitar, and he's always been a big part of it, of the music that we do. But he wrote a song called Lonely Wind, and it's about an old house, but I fell in love with the melody the first time I heard it. He sent it to me. It was quite a bit slower than that, but I don't know, I love singing that song, and I don't know, it's just you can tell it's got a lot of emotion as far as the way it was written. And then probably the other song, I guess we've been doing it for so many years now, it's probably been one of our bigger numbers that we've ever recorded, and that's Thorn Tree Shade. Mm-hmm. And everywhere we go, people want to hear Thorn Tree Shade, so there's not hardly ever a weekend that goes by that we can't, that we can get by without doing Thorn Tree Shade, because somebody will be yelling it out in the audience,
Well, I can tell you one personally that really, I think it's what drew me to your band, and just like, oh my gosh, they are just not like your grandma's bluegrass, was Rich Man's Daughter.
Oh, that that's a Toby Laney.
That is a jamming song. Yeah. I was like, who knew that bluegrass could sound this way? And it's interesting at the top of the show when you mentioned some of your influences, your musical influences growing up, and who you like to listen to. And now that I know that, it's like, oh my gosh, I can kind of hear that in there. And but yeah, that's one of my personal all-time favorites of your band.
That's a good one. It's a
jamming song.
That's all over. That was Toby wrote that and came up with the melody and everything. And I can remember we actually worked that up. We were at a show down in Auburn, Alabama, sitting around this old house, and he brought it to the band, and man, we started working it up, and we all knew instantly that was going to be something that was fun for us to play. It's a great song, and Toby Laney's a great songwriter. Not only musician, he's a great songwriter too, and that's one of his.
Well, and I have been at festivals when you guys played that song, and just the first couple of notes, the crowd just goes crazy. It's like, I'm like, well, here are the rock stars of bluegrass. Like, it's just, you get that kind of electricity out of a crowd when a band can hit the first few notes of a song and the crowd immediately knows what it is and they just light up. And there's nothing like that in the world, to be in the audience and just see that happen, So that's pretty cool, indeed. So, and I think that's going to always be a fan favorite too, just no matter where you go. It's people are going to want to hear it, just like Thorn Tree Shade, Well, I want to talk about your latest release, which is Karma. And gosh, you guys, it's been doing so well, the album. And share a little bit about some of the insights into the inspiration behind the album's title, which I'm really curious about, and some of the overarching themes or stories that are explored in the songs on the record.
Oh, gosh. Well, the title cut, When Karma Comes Calling, was written by Terry Hurd and Ronnie Bowman. And Terry had called me and told me, he said, me and Ronnie have just got this tune that we want to send to you. He said, it sounds like a Volume 5 tune. And it did. And I think Terry said this, I always get this wrong. And I can't remember if I think he told me his sister's name is Carmen. And I know it's not Karma, but I've said Karma before, and I'm pretty sure it's Carmen. So anyway, Terry had sent me this song, and when I first heard it, it was Ronnie singing it with a guitar. And it was quite a bit different than the way we did it. We grassed it up a little more. But I knew once we got it recorded, I said, man, that's the title cut. And I said, and what a title for a record. We could just call it Karma, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I love the album cover too. It just fits with the title of the record.
Well, I appreciate that. I do. And, I wrote one of the songs on here, What I Didn't Say.
Oh, gosh.
Every now and
love
then
that
I'll write
song,
a song.
Glenn.
Well, I appreciate that. That was actually, was going to be written probably as a ballad, but I needed a faster song on here. And that one was written sort of about my mom and dad. They loved to, they were simple folks and loved to sit out on the porch. And when we'd go over there, we'd just laugh and about just anything. It didn't have to be anything major. It was just, that's something they loved to do. And I lost both of them in 2019, 2 months apart. So that was a rough year. Yeah, it was a rough. And this record here, this is something, we've never had guests appear on our records before. But on this one, I had Russell Moore appear on the song My Love Will Never Fade. Mm-hmm. And then Sean Lane, he sang on Walk Beside Me. Mm-hmm. And Josh Schilling, we had him come in and sing the tenor part on Losing My Religion. So that's something we had never done before.
Well, it's paid off because I tell you, the record is just people have just, it's another one of those that's just critical acclaim. I mean, everybody's loving it. Every single you put out from it is just done very well. Walk Beside Me, absolutely love that song, which, by the way, I know that's your current release. And talk a little bit about the story behind that song and what you hope that fans can take away from its message, because it's a great song.
It is a great song. And, I had never heard this song, to be honest with you, until we got to the studio. And usually when we're recording, we'll get down and we'll have, I may go to the studio with 25 songs. And out of those 25, we'll pick 10, and out of those 10, we'll probably record 8. So then we'll get down to needing probably 2 or 3 more songs, and then we'll be searching. Everybody's sitting there. When you get to that point in the studio where you've got everything done, you're thinking, okay, we still got to have 2 or 3 more songs, and we just haven't found what we're looking for. Mm-hmm. Or we have, but they may not all be able to work on this particular record because we don't want one song to sound like the next, So I always try to make sure when we record, put songs on the record. I've always thought, I want people to come up. If you have a good record, I don't want to just throw anything on there. I want, people to like it well enough that they would come up and, no matter what song is on that record, that, you could be fortunate enough that they would come up to you and buy the whole record because of one song on there that they like. So to me, they all have to be really strong,
Oh, yeah.
But like I said,
definitely.
Walk Beside Me, that was a Tim O'Brien and Daryl Scott tune, and I'd never heard this, and I think it was Aaron Ramsey it was Aaron or Patton Wages one had played this for me, and I thought, man, how have I not ever heard that song? And I thought I'd heard about everything that Tim O'Brien and Daryl Scott had done, but the song has a really great message behind it, and really people probably can just take a listen to that and they can figure out for themselves, what it means to them. And but let's see, we've recorded a John Hartford tune on there, No End of Love. Mm-hmm. And we wrote there was another song on here that I wrote with Jeff Parton. Well, actually, Jeff Parton had the song written pretty much, other than I think I wrote one of the verses to it when we got to the studio, and he said, hey, I've got a song here I've been working on. He said, I thought maybe you might want to see if you could come up with a second verse. So we did. It was called The Bible. Jeff is such a great musician, and he's a great songwriter too. Oh
yeah. Well, I'm just so excited to see how things are happening with the project. Have you got anything in the works that you can talk about at this time, or is it kind of still under wraps?
No, we've started a new record back in January, I think it was, And we've got about 6 or 7 songs recorded on it. And we've got a new single that'll be coming out, I think it's October the 2nd or October the 4th. And it's a John Moreland song called You Don't Care Enough for Me to Cry. And I'm looking forward to that one coming out. Man, you're talking about a great song. I wish I could write one like that. I'll never do write the songs that are that good.
Oh, but what y'all put out.
I reach out to all the good songwriters.
Well, it pays off. Let me tell you, Glenn. I mean, everything you guys release, you can rest assured it's going to be a hit. People are going to love it because that just seems to be kind of the way things have evolved for you guys through the years, and that's why fans are always looking forward to new music when they know it's on the horizon. So that's exciting. I'll be looking forward to that for sure.
Well, like I said, we do try really hard, and we love what we do. We love playing shows. We love recording, and we're really serious about the music that we play and the music that we put out. And I hope the folks, maybe through this interview, they'll see, that we do take a lot of time to try to make sure that we can find and record the very best music we can get our hands on, So I always reach out to the best songwriters that I know, and that's where you'll find those good songs,
Oh, absolutely. So. Well, before we wrap up, I want to play a fun little 5-question lightning round to kind of let listeners get to know you on a little different level, like some of your favorite things. Nothing crazy, no wrong answers, just a fun little thing. So the first question is, what is your dream collaboration? And that might be hard because you and the guys in the band have had some great collaborations already.
Dang it, that'd be hard to say. I would love to record a song with Daryl Scott. I will say that. I think Daryl Scott is one of the most awesome singers ever, and he's got that soulful, rock and roll sound that I grew up to. Like the Bob Seger. So probably Daryl Scott. That would be one of my favorites right there for sure.
Well, and you're still putting songs together for this new project, so hey, you can make that happen, right?
Maybe. I don't even know if Daryl Scott knows who I am.
Oh, my gosh. Well, he may. All right, so what's your favorite food?
My favorite food, that would have to be either fried catfish or a good grilled steak.
Both good choices. All right, what's your favorite song or favorite movie? Either or both.
My favorite movie of all time is Christmas Vacation. It never gets old.
No, it doesn't, does it? I'm such a Christmas movie buff. Anyway, I'm a sucker at Christmas. It's like that's all I do, it seems like. Okay, what's your favorite holiday or your favorite season?
It would be fall and Christmas. Me and my wife here at home, we can't wait every year for it to get fall because we drag out, or she does, she drags out all these Christmas decorations we've been accumulating for years, and we've got the whole house decorated in Christmas. And our Christmas tree, a lot of people put Christmas balls and all that kind of stuff, but she's way better at this than me. Well, matter of fact, I'm gonna give her all the credit for it. But we've been collecting little ornaments that either our kids have made or somewhere that we've been. So our whole Christmas tree each year, we get to pull an ornament up and say, hey, do you remember when we bought this? And so that's, me and my wife, we absolutely love Christmas time.
Yeah, that's my favorite time of year. And, having a tree with ornaments like that, it never goes out of style. I mean, those memories last forever. And as your kids get older, it's nice to reminisce. And I think the holidays are the best time for that anyway. It's when everybody can come together. And, especially when your kids are grown and they're adults and they're off living their own lives, it seems like the time you spend with them gets less and less because they're all doing the adult thing. And so the holidays are really special. And when you can recall those, do you remember this, the year you made this? It's so special. It really is. All right. And last question.
My job at Christmas, my job is to get the tree down, and then I turn it over to her and my girls because they can make that tree just sparkle.
Well, you know what? That way you can just enjoy it. You get all the hard work out of the way. So,
that's right.
All right. So the last question is, do you prefer the beach or the mountains?
Oh, mountains. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I like the beach. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I just love the mountains. They never get old to me. The beach is fine, but I just, I'm not. I always tell my wife this. I said, I love going to the beach because I love to go find good seafood and things like that. I said, but now I'm not one for getting out there and and cooking like a turkey. If I can go and it's late in the afternoon or something when the sun's not just beating down. I'm fine with that, but I don't want to lay out there and burn.
Well, and here in North Carolina where I live, I'm in the center of the state, so it's like we have the best of both worlds on either side. So it's like it's great to go to the Blue Ridge Parkway in the fall, which in a couple of weeks it'll be great to go up there and see all the foliage changing colors. And then the beach, I don't like to go when it's super, super hot. Plus, it's just so incredibly packed in the summertime anyway. So it's not a bad trip to take in the fall either, except you have to dodge hurricanes here a lot of times.
Yeah, well, that's a beautiful state. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, Glen, I thank you so much for playing along with that and also for your time today. It has been such a pleasure speaking with you and just so excited to hear about all the things going on with the band and look forward to what's to come.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, Dawn, and thank you for having me on and taking time to talk with me, and I appreciate you playing our music, and I appreciate everything you do for Volume 5 as far as playing our music, but I appreciate everything you do for the genre as a whole and playing everyone's music, because there's a lot of great artists in bluegrass music, and there's a lot of great music out there that needs to be heard, and I commend you for everything you do, and I certainly appreciate that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's a real honor to be able to play it, and just from when I started in it to seeing how it's grown and evolved through the years, it's amazing to see what we have going on now in the genre, and just all the young people who even more and more are getting involved in it, and from playing to performing to just being, a fan at a festival. I mean, it's just really cool to see that it's got something to offer our younger generation, who will be the future of bluegrass one day, So,
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and give my best to all the guys in the band, and we look forward to seeing you out on the road real soon.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Dawn. I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Okay.
You've been listening to The Bluegrass Story, a production of BluegrassPlanetRadio.com. We hope you've enjoyed this insightful journey into the world of bluegrass music and its captivating stories. Remember, you can tune in to The Bluegrass Story anytime on demand on all major streaming platforms. Keep the bluegrass spirit alive, and thank you for joining us.